Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Galactic Reviews, where we'll be talking about and reviewing and later discussing the new Disney movie Turning Red that is on Disney Plus that came out like a week to 2 weeks ago as of our recording. Relatively new, within the month. It follows a young girl, young Chinese American girl, Mei Mei, as she's going through the turmoils of middle school, just being a young girl, being a young Asian American girl, very motivated and achieving. And then she comes to find that through her bloodline, through something to do with her family, which reveres the Chinese red panda, whenever she gets overly emotional, all of a sudden she turns into this giant red panda. And this movie deals with both her as a teenager and her as a teenager turning into a giant red panda. What did y'all think?
I do want to correct you on something. She's not Chinese American. She is Canadian. Yeah, because the concert's in Toronto.
Yeah, he's right.
And then they mix up Toronto with Toledo. And she has
they do have
flag.
Right.
I mean, Canadian.
They have the Canadian flag in the
There's
back
a Canada
as well.
flag, bro.
That I totally missed that. Thank you for catching that. Canadian. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
It makes a
Whoever
lot
wants to
more
review
sense
first.
now.
Did you guys not catch that?
I mean, it hinted
Explain
at
it.
it, but I just didn't pay attention. It was not important enough to me.
Yeah,
Yeah. They could have been talking about Toronto, Arizona. Who knows?
I thought it said something Ohio as well on the flyer.
I mean,
So
they
I was
said
like,
North.
oh, I guess.
I think on the thing they said North American tour.
Oh.
So, I
Would
mean,
make
you did
sense.
hear America, so that's where it could come in. But Canada is part of North America.
give the review first.
All right, well, I'll do it. All right, so I will say I did not, I expected this to take place during like 2020, 2022. It takes place back in what, 2012, 2013,
2002.
2000. I was close. I
Oh.
wasn't expecting that.
I paid more attention than Andrew, apparently.
Apparently,
It was like the very first scene. It has like the year.
I
It
am
has
not
a whole
detail
cast.
oriented. I am not detail oriented.
It was big across
Oh
the
my
screen.
goodness.
It was like the whole screen. It was just the year.
I mean, I was dozing off
What?
and I caught that. Okay.
I wasn't even really watching it. I was doing other stuff and listening to it. But nonetheless, so I thought it was interesting. It made sense for some of the scenes, like the Tamagotchi, seeing that very popular in the early 2000s. Looking back on it, I'm like, yes, that would fit like early 2000s. Other than that, the whole first half of the movie destroyed me emotionally, and I hated it. It's just, I'm not a big person just to watch a movie and cringe at every single like move they make. I don't know if it's because I wouldn't make those moves or I have made those moves in the past and don't want to remember them. But nonetheless, it just
Oh, you tried
hurt
doing
me.
a cartwheel in the middle of the street and had all your books
No,
fall
I
out?
never did that. I never did that.
So many
No.
people have been there.
No,
I've done that 5 times. What?
I believe it. Overall, I just wasn't a big fan of this movie. It didn't feel like a Pixar specific movie. It felt too much, it felt more of a Disney movie than a Pixar movie to me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of it overall.
Andrew, you want to
Mm.
extend that pinky out, not the.
My overall rating, I give it 3.5. I just wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. I'm sorry, Andrew.
You killed
It
Andrew
just-
right there. You
It
just
just
that a-
wasn't my movie.
He just
Yes.
died.
Out of
Died.
10. I didn't personally enjoy this movie, and I'm sorry.
That is okay. The 3.5 just caught me off guard. Because when I think of like a 3.5, I think of some of the other movies we talked about. I think of Captain Marvel as a 3.5.
Or Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman 1984, those are like 2s in my book.
Yeah.
1 and
I think
2.
of them as
Yeah, those are
3.5s
twos.
because I try to not let the really bad parts distract from like Samuel L. Jackson's role in that movie. And like the special
Yeah.
effects were really good.
I just think the overall.
But
Well,
that's,
we'll
that's,
get into
that's
it
why
later
it caught me off guard.
We'll get into the rest later on, more detail.
Go ahead. Who's next?
Someone else goes.
Ethan.
Maybe brighten his
Ethan
spirits
goes.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Ethan
you
goes?
can go ahead and go. Yeah.
Okay, so this movie I thought was very, very interesting. Storyline wise, it was over the place. I understood why it was the way it was. Like, who wouldn't want to go to a concert for no reason. But I thought the movie was quite interesting. The fact that it pulled like a situation out of like in real life and made it a movie. I thought it was really cool. I felt like they ripped off a bunch of like, I want to say anime moments, and I feel like they really ripped off anime a little bit off of this one. Like you know how like what was it?
Are you talking about like just the drawings in general?
Yes.
Okay.
Like and by anime moments, I'm
But
like the
I
emotion
would've just-
of like the panda. It's like, I love this, or like that. I felt like they
just the
really ripped
eyes?
that off. Yes.
Just
I
giving
think they
anime eyes for
like
everything.
yes. I think they ripped that off a little bit. Not saying, oh, that was a terrible idea, but it was just like I didn't like those moments.
I mean,
didn't-
every once in a while I can understand using them, but I can see
I
they
feel like
kind of
in this movie it was
overused
way
them.
overused, you know?
I can understand.
I will say pretty decent. It's kind of like I wasn't a humongous fan. I'm like Zachary. I'm in the Zachary train. I wasn't a humongous fan. It was okay. Payson, shut up. It was
aboard.
okay. Yeah, choo choo. I'll be your caboose brother.
I'm
But
gonna quit. Your face.
Nope. I'm
All
right.
detaching the rails. I'm going off the rails.
do 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 do. And for my rating, I'm gonna give this a 4 because according to my logic, Captain Marvel is a 3, but I'm definitely giving this one a 4. Not the greatest movie, not the worst movie, but it was okay.
I feel like we've broken Andrew.
Well, it's your turn, Payson.
Hey, it's the me and you combo. What
I'll
can I
go back
say?
to my grape juice.
So
Payson,
you are not gonna like me.
I can see his heart breaking into pieces, and I
Oh,
feel
man.
bad.
Did
I
Andrew like the
sobbed
movie?
during this movie. You don't
That's your fault.
understand.
That's
Go
your
ahead.
fault.
At which part?
At the beginning of the thing, it felt like one of those crappy YouTube videos. Not like this won't be, but it just felt like one of those crappy, I forget, like those rom-coms or something where like they focus on the camera or whatever and they just talk to it like on Disney Channel. That's what it felt like.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking? I
the
forget
very
what that.
beginning of the it's
Yeah,
a
and then they
There's
do
like
it
an
again at the
intro.
end. And they
not a
do it again at
monologue,
the end.
Intro.
yeah, but having yourself doing the introduction.
Yeah, it
and
breaks basically it's a
breaking the
fourth
fourth
wall break.
wall.
Yeah, didn't like that.
I think that's what it would fall under, but I'm not really sure.
I don't know what it's called, but I know it has a niche of what it is. So because I know there's a lot of things like that. Didn't like that. Didn't like the overall plot is essentially, I think the overall plot is essentially Teen Wolf from what I've heard. A lot of stuff that didn't feel appropriate for a kids movie. And yeah, just the whole thing, a whole bunch of things I just didn't like. I will admit, it did pick up a little bit more at the end, but if you've already got it's kind of like if you don't grab somebody within the first 30 minutes, you're already going to lose a lot of the audience, even before you get to the good stuff. And there wasn't really that much. My favorite thing was that they brought Mr. Ping from Kung Fu Panda into the movie. That was about it. So, but
Good job.
overall, I'll go ahead and give it a 3 out of 10. I know it has a niche. My problem is it feels a lot like a weirder version of Brave, where Brave was more the mother-daughter aspect that this movie was going for. However, Brave seemed to invite more of an audience, I guess, and this one sort of tampers only to that audience. So if that makes the most sense to get into people who might have really liked this movie as to why I don't like it. But yeah, 3 out of 10. Horrible, but I don't really want to watch this again. And it just felt like a down shot for Pixar, which has brought us movies like Toy Story, Cars, Incredibles, Finding Nemo. So, I mean, all right, go to the guy with the anime shirt.
All right. Well, if I was giving it a rating based on my own personal enjoyment, I'd give it probably an 8. Factoring in that it's just, while I really enjoyed the movie, I do not consider it on as far as a piece of cinema, a groundbreaking, phenomenal movie. I would give it a split the middle. I'll give it a 7 because as far as just a general movie go, I'd give it a 6 with my enjoyment, an 8. So overall 7. Without going deep into the things that I enjoyed about it, I would still say watch it. It's just a fun movie. And something that I'll pick up on immediately in the discussion is that this movie is not a kids movie. The targeted demographic is preteens and teens, specifically preteens and teens girls, which explains why college men would not necessarily gravitate towards
which
the
I
material
was
and
going to
the
discuss
medium
later on.
in which the story is told. Keeping that, having that in mind going into the movie, I still greatly enjoyed it, and I would still give it, out of an enjoyment, a However, I am personally biased because of the story, which I will talk about later in the discussion. So yeah, thank you for viewing our review, and we will see you in the next episode.